Hey everyone, so I'm Professor Hammond, and you've enrolled in my COP1000 Intro to Programming course. So let's start out with why we're here. For most of y'all, this is a prerequisite or a requirement for a degree program. This is something that we have integrated into all of the computer programs as a requirement, so you have an understanding of, if maybe you're not a programmer, if you've been exposed to it, you know what programmers do and maybe how they perceive things. So this course has specific learning outcomes, and I've got them listed here on this first page. Now, we'll go through them over and over again within the course. I've got them listed out. There's 11 outcomes. I've got it set up where I introduce those learning outcomes and where I'm going to measure them. We start out, let's come down into Unit 0. And in Unit 0, I've created something new now, which is this course overview, expectations, resources, and requirements. So I have listed in here those same course learning outcomes. That's what we need to do. I also have your hardware, software requirements, the things you need to have, or the things you need to be able to do as the skills. Okay. I modify this from time to time, not during the course, but from one course to the next. So yours may not be the exact same as you see in the video here. Please read through this entire document. I know it seems like a lot of information. It is a lot of information, but it's a lot of very important information. I break everything down into what, why, who, where, when, how, and I've got a list, the who's, any resource you need to get a hold of, the bookstore, career services, change your password, Mindtap help desk, the learning center, if you need tutoring, you need guidance. Ton of resources right there, okay? Beyond that, I've got the hows, how I'm grading. I actually have what I call my had a bad day policy. I dropped the 10 lowest assignments. Now those assignments are the Mindtap exercises that I'm going to show you here in a little bit. 2 lowest test scores, 1 project, 2 discussions, and 1 reflection. Got information here on where you get these items, whether it's software, tutoring, where to go for the textbook, okay, and when things happen. So from there, we'll move up to the upper right-hand corner and proceed to the right. As we proceed in, it popped up a new page. One of the things that I ask everybody to do, it's not a graded item, but I do ask everybody to go and complete the ELO 1000 ELearning Orientation. Now this ELearning Orientation is free. It takes about 2 hours to complete it. You register for it the exact same way as you registered for this class. So there's directions here on how to do it. It popped up in a new tab. One of the things I want to emphasize is this course uses third-party software called Mindtap. And Mindtap requires you to enable pop-ups. So if you don't enable pop-ups, you're not going to be able to access the resources. Right. So as we proceed, we'll move forward through it. And we've got student introductions. You can go introduce yourself to the other students in the class. Get to know everybody, because your best resource is the other people going through the same thing you're going through. Right. Now here's a welcome to the course, which is the Mindtap course. If you click that link, it'll give you an opportunity to create a Mindtap account or a Cengage account. You don't have to purchase this straight away. You can use it for a free trial. I think we'll get a week, better than a week, out of a free trial before you have to have the code to access Mindtap. Now, you'll just click that, create an account. If you have the access code, you'll set it up. And don't forget, I said you have to set up where you enable pop-ups. Now for me, come over here to the right, settings, and I'm using Chrome. Chrome works the best for me. If I scroll down, I've got, well, just do a search. Pop, site settings, pop-ups and redirects, and I allow pop-ups. Make that go away, and we come back to the course. So I need you by a date that you'll see here in a little bit in the assignment due dates to get that set up, get Mindtap set up. Have completed the ELO 1000. As we move forward through this, here's how to get started with Mindtap and helps you with the navigation through it. Here's a link to the tech support should you have any problems with Mindtap. Now I've created something new that is this assignment support form. Now all too often I found that students would email each other back and forth, help, I'm having a problem with this assignment. They may be apprehensive to reach out to me, or they may feel they get a better, quicker response from somebody else. Not that I'm delaying in responding. Sometimes students are apprehensive to reach out to the professor. Here's a form that will be open through the entirety of this course. It will close at the end of the last unit. I've got a grading rubric. I only ask that you post to it 3 times during the entire term. Now that's not each module 3 times. That's during the entire term. Just post 3 times. And it could be you posting a question or you posting a comment or a response to somebody else's question. This is just a place for everybody to come together to help each other. Hey, look what I found. This may help you with whatever it may be. Okay? So it's just one more tool to get everybody on the same page as you move through this as a group. Now, you can move forward if you're managing your time very efficiently and you find that, hey, you've got a bunch of time, it's raining, got nothing to do, let me go knock out a unit or 2 in my computer programming. I have no problem with that. Okay? You have discussions that start and end at certain dates. You can post early in the discussions, but you can't post responses to others unless somebody else has posted in there. So there's limitations on what you can do moving forward. So if we proceed, we come up, here's this schedule that I've created of everything that's due and these initial things that I was talking about, some of them, registering your Mindtap, say your discussion or introductions, and installing some software. Raptor is a flowcharting program that we'll use. It's not compatible with Mac. Python will use version 3. I think we're on 3.7 or 3.8 now. Don't use any versions that precede 3. So if you see a version of Python 2.4, 2.7, don't use them. We're using 3. Whatever the most current one is. If you had 3.2, that's fine, as long as it's not one of the older versions. So these are the dates that you DUE the assignments, meaning they're due dates. It's when it has to be submitted by. These items, for the most part, will all lock on this date. So on June 7th, you won't be able to complete that test after June 7th. You won't, and that's a test in Blackboard, not in Mindtap. This first item, executing code in Python, that is in Mindtap. The rest of these items in the June 7th section, they're all in Blackboard. So there's a test in Blackboard, there's a discussion in Blackboard, and there's a reflection in Blackboard as well. I'll talk about that in a little bit. So here's when everything is due, DUE. That does not mean that's the date that you do it. Do it long before the due date, please. Okay, so there's our schedule. Move ahead. Here's some little ins and outs and things that common practices when it comes to programming. Okay. Got resources on the software that you're going to use, how to get to it. I've got links here on the left. I've got a supplemental one. I call it Solo Learn. It's not required, but it's a great resource to go in and find practice coding assignments. So if you've got time, and a lot of people knock out everything that I've got in the course and they're still looking for more. Solo Learn's a great resource for that. Here's a video to walk you through setting up Raptor, which is the flowchart program we talked about. Same thing for Python. And the difference between Python 2 and 3 and how to install. Okay, so I've got a software application. It's called repl.it. That's the actual URL for it. I've got a link in that Welcome to COP1000 document that had the who's, the whys, the wheres. There's a link to repl.it in there. You'll go in and set up an account. And repl.it is a place for you to work on your code, execute your code, create a link to your product, and then you just give me the link and I can access your code at any time. So if you're working on a project, and I'm having a problem with this, you can grab that link, email it to me and say, Professor, what am I doing wrong with my code? I click the link and I can go in and see exactly what you're doing at that point in time. So this is a great resource for both you and me. Makes it easier for me to evaluate it and access it. Makes it easier for you, rather than emailing code back and forth, you just send me a link to your code. Okay, so there's this initial unit. That got us through the first unit. Once we've gone through that, we can go look at Unit 1 and see what do we have available to us. And in Unit 1, here's a roadmap of what you're going to do and approximately how long it should take you to get through each thing. Down the left side, you'll see an outline or navigation that you can quick click to get to any of these items. Okay, I've got a lecture video up front, or you could use this link just like we did previously to get through item by item. If you decide you want to move ahead, you can go click on anything you want over here. Okay, so a lot of this stuff is YouTube videos that I've created, YouTube videos that I'm sharing with you. I try to break everything down, compartmentalize it. When you reach something like this just means that it's third party, it's Cengage content. So you'll click that link, it'll open up in another window. That's where the pop-ups have to be enabled. Most everything in this section right here is all Mindtap. Now this introduction to algorithmic thinking, I click on that, it pops open in a new window, and it's a hyperlink. Wow, it's a dead hyperlink. I'll have to go through and adjust that. So I've got a resource that should have worked for us already. That's an introduction to algorithmic thinking. So what an algorithm is taking a problem and breaking it down into a step-by-step logical word problem. So an algorithm is taking this concept or an idea and laying it out step by step into a specific sequence of how you're going to address whatever or resolve whatever that problem is. And then we've got this great start to Python. Here's a link to all kinds of Python resources. I'm going to add whatever resources I can. And those aren't creating more work for you. It's just a, hey, go review this, because the more information you have, the more tools you've got in your tool belt, the better prepared you are for whatever you will come up against. If we look in the graded items, this says we've got 4 graded items in this first unit: a discussion, coding lab, exam, and a reflection. Now, in a way, that's a little misleading, because you have that assignment support form that you can go in and take care of it. It's not graded in Unit 1 though. I won't grade it until the very last unit, or the unit before the final is when this will close. And I'll have a note in there, and you'll see it there as a graded item. So on that folder that you just looked at, you'd have this listed in there as, hey, here's a graded item. So I've got this access to where you can get in there, ask questions, help others out when it comes to assignments. We click next. Here's a discussion. So your first discussion outside of the introductions, you'll post a main post. Needs to be at least 100 words, and then respond to 2 other people with 25 to 50 words for each response to somebody else. Now, these 3 things, the main post and the 2 responses, they need to be substantive. All right, they can't just be, good job, Jamie. You did a great job on that. That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm glad we both thought of the same thing. You may get 25 words out of that, but it brings no substance to the discussion. Okay? I've got a rubric right here, how I evaluate, how I grade those discussions. And I just go through it, click, click, click. Your main post, was it thoughtful? Was it long enough? Was it too short? So here's how I'm going to evaluate that. There should be no questions on, if you go through and look at what you posted in the discussion, what you're going to end up with score-wise. So as we move forward, here's some code in Python that we're going to do. If I click this, it may open up. I'll cancel that. I'll come back to it. It would have taken you right into Mindtap and into that exercise. And you've got the walkthrough that we looked at in Unit 0 that'll get you there. I still have to go set up that link for this specific course. So there was the one exercise we had to do. All right. I've got videos for those exercises. And I think it might not be it. If I don't have it up here now, I will have it up there. I'll have videos, and I've got them. I'll show you in the other units, the walkthrough videos that I've got. You've got a test. So here's a test. You click to launch it. You got an hour to complete the test. It's got true, false, and multiple choice questions. You only have an hour to do it, but you can do it as many times as you want before the due date. So if you did it, you got an 80 on it. If you want a better score, go retake it. It keeps the highest score. Over here on the left, the reinforce and the review are the 2 greatest resources when it comes to getting through that test. That test uses a test bank of questions, and that same test bank of questions is also utilized in the final. So keep in mind, the questions you see here, there's a very high probability you'll see those same questions on the final, or at least a few of them. Okay. And then we've got a reflection. So this reflection, this is something new that I've added, that each unit, I want you to look back on the things you did. What did you learn from this module that you feel will be most important in the future in your career? How smoothly did this module go for you, including any difficulties or misunderstandings you may have had? If it was really smooth, let me know why it was really smooth. What was great? What really helped you the most? Did you find something outside the course that would help you or others in the future? This allows me, as well as you, to look back at what did we just do, learn from it, so we can move forward. My takeaway is, I see what worked, and I can emphasize that in other classes to get it to work there as well. If I see something's not working, I know where the deficiencies are and how to address them, because now they're apparent to me. I've been put on notice. Hey, there's a problem here. Okay, you'll upload this in either a Microsoft Word document, .docx, .txt, PDF, any of those, and I just need you to upload it there. Here's the grading rubric for it, just like we looked before. Did you respond to what was there? Was it written without errors and typos? So it's pretty straightforward. I don't grade heavy on these things, but they're important because of the weight they carry both to you and me, and us understanding what we're doing, why we're doing. Okay, if I go look in, let's say, Unit 2, you'll see in here, I've got exercise videos. Now that first unit, if I don't have a video in there, you're not going to have any problems getting through it. But as we move forward, these exercises get heavier and heavier. They're a little more complex as we move forward. So you can click on that link, and there's a video. And if I expand that,
Start this second lab.
here's a video that I've
And this
created.
is assigning variables in
Let me
Python.
shut myself up. You can full screen it. You can walk through it step by step. Say, let me hurry up, move through it. And I walk you through the entire exercise, start to finish, on everything that you've got to do, explaining it and getting you through that exercise. Okay. Now, these exercises help you gain the skills to be able to complete projects. So I want these to be easy. These are the light lifting for you. When we get down to, we don't have a project here in Unit 2. We've got a project in, I think, Unit 3. So if we come to Unit 3, standard measured in P1. So we've got a program learning outcome that we're going to measure in P1. If I look in the graded items, project number 1 is in here. If I click on it, here it is. Here's the project. Click and there's the directions for it. What I need you to do, if you're going to utilize modular programming, you're going to use the print function. You're going to submit a flowchart, your Python programming code in that rel.it link that you created for me, paste it in the text submission box, and a little Word document with your algorithm. Remember, I talked about the algorithm is how you're taking the problem or the solution to the problem and putting it into a word problem, step-by-step progression, how you're going to proceed through whatever it is that you're doing. You then take that algorithm and you convert it into pseudocode. It's not exactly computer code, but once you've created your flowchart, everything's step by step after that. It's just smooth. It goes. So we'll create an algorithm. That's the word problem explaining what we're going to do. We create a flowchart, and I've got the video showing you how to use that. The flowchart just checks to see if our logic is valid, that it's functional logic and not flawed logic. That things are going to do what we expect them to do. So that's that REPL or the Raptor file is the flowchart. And then beyond that, once we've got the flowchart, we'll take the algorithm, create pseudocode. It's not exactly code, and I've got some examples of it back in the previous unit. And then once we've got our pseudocode laid out, we fine-tune it into exact code in REPL.it, run it, make sure it does what it's supposed to do. And since this is project 1, I've got 2 things here for you two videos to walk you through those exercises like we saw before. And based on those videos, you should have no problem coding. The work that you've done in the first 3 units will be everything you need to complete that first project. Okay. So in this class, we've got a lot that we're going to do. We've got a total of, 14, 13 units. We're going to go step by step. Each unit has course learning outcomes that are measured in there, or program learning outcomes that are measured in there. And when we get down to the very end, down in Unit 12, like I said, that assignment support forum, that's graded in Unit 12. And then in that last unit, the wrap-up, I've only got two things that are graded in here: your final exam and a course evaluation. At the end of the course, I want you to go in and, based on the reflections that you've done each unit, go in and answer the questions that the college has set up for the course evaluation. Complete the course evaluation in PantherNet. Once you've completed that, and you've completed it in a thoughtful way, and that you're providing feedback that will allow both me and the college to grow from your experience, you'll take a screenshot of, it'll give you a splash screen saying, here, you're all done. You've submitted your course evaluation. Grab a screenshot of that. Come over, click on this course evaluation link, and upload that screenshot of your course evaluation. Doesn't show me what you said. That's an anonymous evaluation. It just shows me that you did, in fact, do it. If you do this, it'll add 2 points onto your total course grade. So if you had a 79, this kicks you up to 81. The feedback is very important. Any kind of information from you will help me. Information from other students will help you. So that's why I've got the reflections in there, and that's why I've got that assignment support form in there. We've got discussions. In the discussions, before I wrap this up, I'm going to show you some of the discussions that we've got. Let's go. Discussion for Unit 2 is missing. Go back and look at the discussion for Unit 3. There we go. So we'll go look at the discussion for Unit 3. Now for Unit 3, once you've gone through ELearning 1000, you'll know that we click to launch this, and here's that discussion. Unit 3. Now it says there's nothing here. What that means is there are no threads in there yet. If I create a thread, it's me responding to one of these prompts. So you just pick one of these, but I've got 8 different topics in Unit 3. Pick one of them and respond to it. So you'll have your subject of what your main post is about and your response to whatever that prompt is. If it's your main post, you can put main post, your name, copy and paste that down. Here's what I'm talking about. Bam, I need 100 words or more for that main post. If you don't like that first topic, look at the next one. Look at the next one. I'm not making everybody talk about the exact same thing. Okay? So that's how you'll post to the discussion. Once you've got it all set up, you'll click submit, and then that'll be your discussion post. You can go back in there, and once you see somebody's created a thread, boom, there'll be more in there, and you can go respond to those threads once they've been created. Okay? Ask questions early and often. There's course mail on this left side. You can go in and see any message that I've sent to you, or you can send me a message. You can send others in the course a message. You can see your grades here on the left as well. So ask questions early and often. Glad you're in the class. We'll talk soon.